Like you, I've always wanted to make a palindrome tester inside of a spreadsheet using only built-in functions, and today, that's what we're doing. Now you can use Sheets for this or Excel, whatever fits your fancy. The only difference is text join. The function text join in Excel is called join in Sheets, for reasons I cannot comprehend. Everything else is the same as it usually is, and the solution goes from pretty simple to pretty complex and a bunch of nested stuff at the end. Hope you'll stick around for that. You can also follow along. I've got a sheet linked in the description with my solution in it if you'd like to check that out for yourself. Hey, would you also take a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel? Helps out a lot. Thanks. Found this over on Oz's YouTube channel. I'll link the description to the original video so you can check that out if you want to also. And here are the words or phrases that he's using in column A. I just brought them into my spreadsheet, and we want to ignore punctuation, spaces, and capitalization. So that's kind of the easy part, and we're going to walk through that right here. These are all built-in functions. Lowercase simply, or lower rather, simply gives you a lowercase version of the data. So that's easy. Boom, we're lowercase. Then to get rid of the punctuation, I had to Google this and I actually used ChatGPT to figure out the regular expression punctuation or syntax for removing the punctuation. Regex replace is one of the built-in Google Sheet regular expression functions. Super powerful, but it is difficult to remember all the syntax. So feel free to Google away on this. Here's how we get rid of punctuation. We've got these double brackets, we've got these colons, we've got the punct in between there, and we're replacing that with just a double quote, so with nothing. So that removes the question marks, the periods down here, there's exclamation marks, so that removes all the punctuation. And then we go over to remove the spaces by using substitute. We grab our data and we just simply remove all the spaces with double quotes or nothing at all. So we've got a cleaned up version. Here's how you can do that all in one fell swoop by combining substitute, regex, replace, and lower all at once. Now comes the fun part. We're going to use a lot of different functions at this point to figure out how to reverse the string. So we want to reverse this palindrome's word. We want to reverse every word or phrase in this column. And then we want to check that reversed version versus the first version. Seems simple, but we got to do a lot of stuff to get there. The first thing is another simple function. This is the len function, which gives us the length of a string. So as you can see, palindromes, the word, is length 11. So it's just counting the characters in the string. Okay, it's easy. Second, we've got sequence. Let's scroll down here first and give you an easy version of sequence. Sequence gives you a sequence of numbers. So you have a row number, a column number, and then a starting point and a step amount. Typically, you're going to see stepping up by 1. So 4, 5, 6, 7. If we changed the row and the column, we could have 4, 5, 6, 7 going down. And then the magic that we're going to use, it's not magic, it's just cleverness, is we're going to use the -1 step. So instead of going up, we're going to go down, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll come back to why we need to do that in another step. But first, let's combine len and sequence. Check this out. So we've got the len of this word is going to be the amount of rows. So we want it to go down in this case. Then the number of columns is 1, and we're going to use as our starting point, again, the len, which is 11, and we're going to count down. That's how we're getting 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, blah, blah, till 1. Okay? Hold that thought, and let's move on to mid. Mid takes the midpoint in a string. So here you need a string, which is, again, this word. Then we need a starting point, and I'm going to show you how we can use any number here. We can get the middle N by using 5, or we can get the D by using 6. But in our case, we want to start using len to get the last letter to show that we can use the length of this string to grab a part of the string. Okay, the extract length is going to be 1 because we're going to get one letter at a time. What we want to be able to do now is somehow programmatically loop through the whole word or the whole phrase and spit it out one at a time. Well, we've got some other magic formulas to do that with. Array formula we're going to use to make that happen. Now, what array formula does is it allows us to return values from an array into multiple rows and or columns. It may not make a lot of sense until you see it in action. Let's say I want a number. Okay, let me get rid of this first. We got 5 times 5. So that's just a regular formula. We're doing 5 times 5 or 5 times 6, whatever. Well, what if I want to do 5 times multiple things? Okay, we can do curly braces here, which allows us to put an array in here. Then I can do 1 comma 2. So now it's going to do 5 times 1 and then 5 times 2. And if we add 3, that's what we had originally. Now we've got 5, 10, 15. So it spits out into multiple cells this calculation without having to enter it into each of those cells. All right, stay with me. We're about there. One more thing we're going to use is join. Now, join does exactly what it sounds like. It takes a delimiter, so we're going to use a comma, and then it joins together values or arrays. So I've just highlighted this 5, 10, 15, and I want to join it together with a comma. I mean, I could join it together with a triple dash if I wanted. That delimiter doesn't matter, but I'm going to put it back as a comma. Okay? And then the last thing we're going to use is the if statement. So we're just going to test whether something is true or false using if. The condition is this equal to that? And if it is, then we write a value. And if it's not, we write another value. In this case, I'm testing E3 and E4. And over here, you can see those are not the same, just visually inspected. And indeed, it says those are not the same. If I change this to E3, then that would be true. Okay. So where does all that get us? So what we want is for each of these letters in palindromes to be grabbed one at a time, starting from the end, going to the beginning, and put in a new cell. So the first step is just figuring out how to step through that problem. And you've already seen a tease of it with mid and with array formula and with sequence. And that's what we're doing right here. So ultimately, we are grabbing a sequence, and the sequence is going to be just what we talked about a moment ago. The sequence is going to be of one row. So we're going to go left to right and do it across multiple columns. The number of columns is going to be equal to the palindromes word in M2 right here. The starting point, and I don't know why it's not highlighting it down here, probably because we're inside an array in these curly braces, so it's not picking it up on this little cheat sheet. But this right here, this len M2, this is going to be the starting point where we're going to start at 11, and then we're going to, again, step down by -1. So it's going to go 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, all of this is within an array. So we're creating an array right here. This is to be used in this array formula so that our mid function, we're going to take the string in M2, and we're going to start at, well, the first time through it, we're going to start at 11. But then we're going to go through over and over because of array formula all the way from 11 down to 1. And each time, mid is going to do what mid does. It's going to extract the letter at that point. Okay, so we click enter and we see in action what it does. It's complicated looking at the whole formula written out like that, but here it is. It worked. It's starting at the S and it's going all the way down to the P. Now, it's all in separate cells because we're just doing this one piece at a time, and that's what array formula is allowing us to do by doing the mid function 11 times for 11 different cells. All right, let's join it together into one cell. And to do that, we literally just copy and paste that whole thing that we just did above into a join function. And we're joining it with a double quotes. So nothing. It's one letter after another. That's what this does. And check it out. Now we've got, and this is in M3 now we've got this Mike Kim completely reversed. Now let's change this. I'm going to just manually put some garbage in there to show you that it is indeed, because that's a palindrome, so you couldn't see it there, but it is indeed going EIFDSA8. All right. Now that we've got this working, what we do is we take this whole join statement, we copy that, and we put it into our if statement, because the last step of this is to show whether or not it's a palindrome. So if, and here's where we paste everything in that we just cut out. So if this whole value is equal to the original value. So here's the condition right here. We had that whole formula, and that whole formula, remember, it's just giving us this cleaned up version, reversed version of the original thing. Now we're testing against M4 in this row. So if all that is equal to M4, if the reversed version is equal to M4, we return this text. It's a palindrome. And if it's not, then write this text. Nope. And then we drag down or Control D and we paste it down, and we see that indeed it does work until it doesn't. All right. So we're going to look at these in just a moment. And there's a reason why we're getting flagged with the emojis. But for regular characters, it is properly testing that, nope, these are not palindromes right here or here, but everything else does check out. If I manually change this to some garbage text, it's going to change this to, nope, that's not a palindrome. So it's working. Why is it not working for the emojis? Well, here's where I had to go back to Oz's original video and see what Chandu and him figured out in this regard. And it turns out that he hit the same roadblock as he was solving it as I did. We got to this point and it's like, okay, why isn't this working? The reason is, take this. This is another function we have. The left function is spitting out a question mark. Well, that's not a rocket ship. What's going on here? The right function is spitting out a question mark. The emojis are causing us issues. Let's show you something else. If we take mid and then we take starting at 1, extract like 1, so that's the same thing as using the left or right function. It's just taking the first character in this case, that first emoji, or we thought it was, but it's returning a question mark. Let's take 2. So it's saying rocket is in the second space. Well, how long does it think this is? Well, check that out. It thinks it's 11. How long should it be? Well, let's see. Race car, that's 7 letters, 8, 9. So it's got 2 extra things here, which are these 2 extra question marks, which I believe are there because the emojis take up 2 bytes instead of 1 byte of space. So the characters are just 1 byte of space. But what do we have over here? Over here on the original video, and they ended up not solving that either. They said that's close enough, etc. Well, we've got Dim Early, who is a Excel wizard himself, who has created this let input reduce sequence lambda crazy function right here. And I didn't even walk through it to see how it worked. I just copied it, brought it over here, and pasted it. All right, and then let's see, we're going to be using M18. So let's replace his cell references with M18, and that's it. So look, it correctly, I think, yeah, it correctly reverses things that are in this cell. So let's bring it up here, which I should have done to begin with, and let's put it, right there where the emojis are. So it's still not working. However, it does work in Microsoft Excel. So here is that same function, formula rather, that he made, pasted into Microsoft Excel. It does work as he said it would in his post on the original Oz video. So I am actually out of my depth here. I don't know why this doesn't work. If you do, please comment below. I have commented over here on the original video, as you can see, and asked the same question. We'll see if he ever gets back, and I will update the comments of my video with the solution if I find it out. Anyway, that's just bonus stuff at the end. The main gist of this we have successfully walked through. Hope this is helpful for you and shown you the power of nesting functions here in spreadsheets. It's just crazy what you can do with the built-in stuff. We could have solved this with JavaScript, with AppScript, programmatically in a different manner, but we can do a whole lot using just built-in tools. Hey, if this was helpful, I would really appreciate you smashing the old like button for me and subscribing to the channel. It helps me get this in front of more people that it can help. Thanks a bunch for your support. Hope you have a great day.